Next on Worcester News Tonight, the city of Worcester raises a Puerto Rican flag, and this year they say the raising means so much more. Plus, the Central Massachusetts Fire Department helping a woman in an unusual way. What proper training they say it takes to remove a necklace. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rosalind Flaherty. The city of Worcester raises a flag for Puerto Rico every year, but they say this year it means so much more. The raising comes 1 year after Hurricane Maria rocked the island. Mayor Joe Petty says more than 1,000 people came to the Worcester area to escape the devastation. The storm destroyed homes and wiped out power. People in the Worcester community say they don't want people to forget the tragedy.
We honor those who have perished. We honor those who are still suffering. And it's not just the people on the island who are suffering, but those of us here as families.
Making sure people who are here are still getting the services that they need. I think some people have gone back, which we thought would happen, as Puerto Rico gets rebuilt.
Although some have been able to return to their homes, others say there is still a long way to go to address the crisis. To celebrate World War II veterans, the Collings Foundation has brought numerous historic bomber and fighter planes to the Worcester Regional Airport. The nationwide tour allows people to get up close and personal with aircrafts used by the United States in World War II. Our Cam Jandro was there today and has the story.
The Wings of Freedom tour flies into Worcester. 9 historic and rare aircrafts are at the Worcester Regional Airport as part of the Collings Foundation's nationwide trip.
They tour around the country as a traveling museum, so people can come out, tour inside them, go for flights, and understand better the history.
On display this weekend will be the B-24 Liberator. Collings Foundation Executive Director Rob Collings says a total of 18,000 Liberators were manufactured, but this is the only one in the world still capable of flying.
They were used in every theater of the war, in the Pacific, in North Africa, in Europe, and they flew more missions and dropped more tons of bombs than any other American aircraft at that time.
Also here is the B-25 Mitchell and the P-51 Mustang, both of which were common aircrafts in World War II. For younger generations, like members of Worcester's Civil Air Patrol, it's an experience seeing the planes in person.
It was just breathtaking, really. Yeah. Seeing what people in the military flew back then.
Kind of like a weird thing to see the planes that were flying back then, now.
In its 29th year, the Wings of Freedom tour visits nearly 110 cities annually. Collings wants the tour to create more interest in World War II.
And we want people to learn about this history, to then have an interest and study more about it, and maybe talk to one of the veterans that might be here and get their story and thank them.
Now these aircrafts will be here at Worcester Regional Airport through Sunday, and visitors will have the chance to not only tour the airplanes, but some will have the chance to even fly in them. Reporting in Worcester, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
The first annual Pink Patch Project fundraiser took place tonight, where local police departments are raising money in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The project is a collaborative effort by Public Safety. This is the second year the Auburn Police Department has taken part in the project. Last year, they raised a little more than $6,000 for the Adam Bullen Foundation in Oxford. Auburn police say since last year, the project has spread to other central Massachusetts departments, making Massachusetts the second largest state for participating agencies.
Just a great way for us to give back to our community, and cancer touches almost every family, and it touches every department. There isn't somebody that you can't talk to that hasn't had it impact their life in some way or another, and so for that reason it just makes sense.
Auburn and other towns like Leicester, Spencer, and Oxford are selling pink department shoulder patches and shirts. You can get all the items at the departments until the end of October. It has been 80 years since a devastating Category 3 hurricane hit New England. Today, technology helps forecast the track of hurricanes and helps people prepare the best way they can. But this wasn't the case in the 1938. Our Chandler Walsh has more.
No one knew what was coming when the hurricane of 1938 hit New England.
It got caught between two weather systems, and it shot right up the East Coast in record time.
Austin Seaver remembers walking home from school with his friend when the winds came.
It started to blow pretty hard. So my mother scooped us both and brought us into the house and wouldn't let him finish going home.
Seaver was 7 years old, and it was his first time learning about a hurricane.
We sat in my bedroom and looked out the window and watched the trees go over.
The Worcester Historical Museum says the Category 3 storm caused massive flooding, fires, and winds as high as 186 miles per hour in the state. Worcester resident Eleanor Smith was living in Connecticut at the time. The winds there just as strong.
The hurricane took the chicken coop and flew it way over into another field.
In Worcester, damage was widespread, from uprooted trees to caved-in roofs to destroyed buildings.
Steeples went down, trees crushed cars, U.S. Steel had a roof collapse, George Whitney's factory had the whole top of it taken off.
Seaver rode out the storm in his home on Franklin Street, one of the oldest in the city. He says his parents were relieved they had no damage. The house still stands.
That old house must have been well built because not a thing happened to it.
Fred Dowd watched the windows of his home in Webster Square shake. He says he was scared with no warning of the storm. The hurricane was extra dangerous without the satellite imagery and radar technology of today.
I'm thankful that they have a lot more time to prepare for these things.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
The Enjoying Good Metro West Muslim Festival is taking place this weekend. The festival's goal is to celebrate diversity. Organizers say Muslims come from about 80 different countries to live in the United States. Organizers say it will be a great time to have fun with games and food.
Get to know Muslims, get to know the ethnicity, different ethnicities, all the diversity, understanding it's not meant for, putting some flyers or something in people's faces, but really just to see how Muslims might actually celebrate and what kind of ethnicity and different clothing and food they may enjoy with.
The festival will be held at Bay State Commons in Westboro on Saturday from 3 to 7. The man arrested in connection to a fatal shooting on Everard Street last week is back in court Friday. 25-year-old Kenny Mota Cruz was arrested in Dunkirk, New York by U.S. Marshals and Dunkirk police. According to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, he is being held without bail. 42-year-old Jose Ortiz was shot and killed August 24th inside a three-decker on Everard Street. 2 other Worcester men have been charged as accessories in the killing. A car crash in Charlton sends 2 to the hospital. The accident happened late Friday morning at the intersection of Bay Path Road and Route 20. The highway heading eastbound had to be shut down until the 2 vehicles involved were removed. 2 victims were transported to the UMass Trauma Center and are expected to be okay. The Webster Fire Department responding to an unusual call for help Thursday. A woman's steel necklace was stuck, so they did this to help her out. The deputy fire chief says using these tools and keeping the woman safe requires the proper training. The department covered her in Nomex gear to protect from sparks and used a metal barrier between the necklace and her neck. The deputy fire chief used a metal cutting blade to cut through the jewelry. He says while it was an unusual incident, the Webster Fire Department is ready to help in any situation.
Fire and rescue on the trucks, but we are really an all hazards department. Like most fire departments, it's not just fires and car accidents and EMS anymore. We do water and ice rescue, rope rescue, and all kinds of special circumstances like this, which a lot of people aren't even aware of.
He says they were able to cut off the necklace within a few minutes.